You are once again welcome to Evangelist Inimakalo TV Treasury of Excellent Knowledge. I am your serviceable servant, Evangelist Inimakalo. I once again greet you. Good evening from my best time from here. It's 18 minutes after 3 p.m. Today being Tuesday, the 20th of September 2022. And I also greet you more especially on the behalf of the Lord, the owner, the creator, the universal Messiah and Redeemer, Jesus the Christ. I want to talk on the part 13 with the topic, the creation, part 13, and the emphasis, which is a subtitle, is kinds and the species of the creatures. Kinds and the species of the creature. This is one of the context of the creatures, of the creation, kinds and the species of the creatures, things that God had created, everything that God had created, including we human beings. We have species, we have kinds, and this kind is being differentiated with most especially the figure of our faces and our colors, our colors. Then we Africans, we have the fairer skinned people who are known as both the Europeans, the Americans, they are the same. Then we talk about the Asians. We talk about the Asians. The majority of the people from Asia are lighter skin, like the Chinese, the Japanese, the rest of them. The people that are darker are the Indians and the Indians, the Pakistanis, and so many others that are darker in the Asia, from the Asian continent. Then they have the lighter skinned people among them, and they are the majority. Then when you come to Europe, it is purely dark skinned people. Then we come to the African continent, it is purely, sorry, when you come to Europe, it is purely the lighter skinned people. When you come to Africa, it is purely the darker skinned people. So just that way. And even the figure of our faces are not the same. The African figure of faces differ from that of the Europeans and differ from that of the Asians, the Chinese, the Japanese, and other parts of Asia. So from here we have species, even though originating from the same four parents, Adam and Eve, but due to God's improvement in the creation, while people continue to give birth to others, then colors began to emerge. And when we go to Africa, and most especially in Biafra land, we see a woman marrying to one husband, and with that husband giving birth to 3 or 4 different people of different color. Not that she has slept with any other man, but this is the nature God had given to us. So from there we have differences of species and colors, but of the same blood, the red blood in all human beings. So the human beings is used here as our classical example. There are species and kinds of the rest of the creatures, of which people will not just quickly begin to reflect on that and bringing it to Bible perspective. So that is part of the work that I do, bringing all these things, very important thing, to Bible perspective, and the Bible being the foundation of the human history and the history of the creation, and including the creatures, their history, their beginning, their foundation. They are all recorded in the book of God, which is the Bible. So this is what we are going to see in this verse 13. Now I begin. The first one is the first one. Let us see the planets, the species and the planets. Verse 1 and 2. The first one. First of all, I read verse 1 and 2. I will read verse 8 to 10. Verse 1 and 2. Then, in the beginning, God prepared, formed, fashioned, and created the heavens and the earth. Then, verse 8 to 10 is, okay, verse 2 said, the earth was without form and an empty waste, and darkness was upon the face of the very great deep. The Spirit of God was moving, hovering, brooding over the space of the waters. Verse 8 to 10, and God called the firmament heavens, and there was evening, and there was morning, a second day. And God said, let the waters under the heavens be collected into one place of standing, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the accumulated waters he called seas. And God saw that it was very good, fitting, admirable, and he approved it. So here we see different kinds of planets recorded as the heavens and the earth. These are, it is all about spaces and planets. So according to secular study, at least, we have come to be taught that there are up to 200 different planets. Formerly, when I was very young, during my primary and secondary school days, I was formerly taught that the planets were 9 in number. But recently, we are beginning to hear that they are up to 200. So that means they couldn't discover all of them as at then. So recently, they are still improving more and more to searching them out. So all of these planets, they have their various names. They have their various names, and according to their kinds, So this is what I want us to know, that all these things are products. The kinds and the kinds of the planet are part and parcel of the content of the creation, and the planet themselves are products of the creation. They are part and parcel of the creatures. Then the second one is the light. Let us see the light. Kinds of the light. This is what we are going to see. Verse 3 of Genesis chapter 1, it said, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. Then verse 14, and God said, let there be light in the expanse of the heaven to separate the day from the night, and let them be signs and tokens of God's provident care, and to mark seasons, days, and years. Verse 16 to 18, and God made the two great lights. Okay, verse 15, before I will read it from verse 15. And let them be light in the expanse of the sky to give light upon the earth, and it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light, the sun, as a kind of light, to rule the day, and the lesser light, the moon, to rule the night. He also made the stars. So we see different kinds of light now. We see light of the firmament, the skylight. We see the sun. We can see the moon. We can see the stars. All these things are natural light created by God, and different kinds. All of them reflect, but there are different kinds of light. Then the vegetations. Okay. Sorry. Then the third one, the periods, the period, times and season, the periods. The third one, verse 5 and verse 14. Verse 5 said, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and there was evening, and there was morning, the first day, one day. So the period, we see day, we see night, we see darkness. Okay, yes, we see day, we see night, we see evening, we see morning, making a whole one day. A whole day. A whole day is comprising of the morning, the morning, the afternoon, which are the day, then the evening, the night, then the following morning. When it enters the following morning, it becomes another day. So we will see different kinds of period. Morning has its own hour according to the the time we use, at least between be, between when we regard as after 12 midnight, it becomes morning. Let me say between 1 a.m. till 11:30 is regarded as the morning period. Then from 12 noon, we begin to talk about noon. Then after 12, it becomes afternoon. Afternoon. Then when it gets toward 4 o'clock, we begin to talk about evening. And depending on the weather condition, when it begins to dark, whether it is from, at least let us say, after 6 o'clock or after 7 o'clock p.m., we begin to talk about night. And speaking from that 7 till another 12 midnight. After the midnight, we begin to talk about morning once again. So all these things are period, and God created them during the creation. So from here we know more of the product of the creation, their kinds and their species. Then the species has to do with we humans, animals, and the plants. 4. The waters, kinds of the waters. That is what we are going to see. Verse 6 to 7. And God said, let there be a firmament, the expanse of the sky in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters below from the waters above. So from here we'll see the waters below, the waters, the land water and the upper water, the one God has hanged up for his purpose. And even among the land waters, there are different kinds. We know about the rivers, we know about the oceans, the sea, the stream, the spring even. And there are different colors of some kind of water in some areas. So God had made them to be so. So some waters of which when they are flying, even if you take them inside of a cup or whatever, you may discover they are white. But while they are flowing, some of them seems to be bluish, some greenish, some brownish, and some pure white. I mean, without anything mixing them, that is how they appeared. That is how they used to appear. It is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Then, still on the waters, go to verse 9 and 10. And God said, let the waters under the heavens be collected into one place of standing, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the accumulated waters he called the sea. And he called the seas, and God saw that it was good, fitting, admirable, and he approved it. So we see the waters, different kinds of waters is what we have just seen. Then the species and the planets. Okay, that is where I began. Then the vegetation, verse 12. We are going to see about the vegetation. The verse 11 and 12. And God said, let the earth put forth tender vegetations, plant yielding seed, and fruit trees yielding fruit, whose fruit is in itself, each according to its kind. And God according to his kind upon the earth, and it was so. According to his kinds, their kinds and species. Then verse 12 says, and the earth brought forth vegetation, plant yielding seed according to their kinds, according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit, in which was their seed, each according to his kind. And God saw that it was good, suitable, admirable, and he approved it. Now, the aquatic animals. Let us see about the aquatic animals, verse 20 and 21. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly and swarm with living creatures, and let birds fly over the earth in the open expanse of the heaven. God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to his kind. And God saw that it was good, suitable, admirable, and he approved it. So we know that there are kinds and species of fishes, kinds and species of other aquatic animals. We have the whales, we have the hippopotamus, we have different kinds of aquatic animals. Barely all of the ground animals have their replicates in the waters. We have the crocodile, while we have the dragon, we have other reptiles that live on the ground, very resembling to crocodile. We have hippopotamus in the sea. We have pigs. We have elephants on the ground. So, kinds of aquatic animals and their species, most especially among the fishes. Then the land animals, verse 24 to 25. The land animals. And God made the, verse 24 to 25. And God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creeping things, and wild beasts of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. And God made the wild beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and domestic animals according to their kinds, and everything that creeps upon the earth according to his kind. And God saw that it was good, fitting, pleasant, and he approved it. So here is the land animals. The land animals. Now, the land animals of various kinds and species. Land animals of various kinds and species. We are going to see about the birds, kinds and species of birds. Let me read verse 27. God created man in his own image, in the image of God, like God he created him male and the female he created them. Say, okay, now verse 28. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful, multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, using all its vast resources in the service of God and man, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves upon the earth. Now, I want to read verse 30. Say, and to all the animals on the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the ground, to everything in which there is the breath of life. I have given every green plant for food, and it was so. So we are sure that the birds have their kinds and their species. So this is the Bible record of it. So that when we'll be speaking with confidence and with assurance. It is not speaking with perplexity or with doubt or with fear. And when we speak with resoluteness and formidability. As people of God, as Christians, as human beings, and will be able to be defending the truth, the fact and figure, the authenticity and the reality of the creation and of everything about God, defending the integrity of God and the integrity of Christianity, integrity of the Bible as well, the foundation of our faith. Lastly, the humans. Lastly, humans, we human beings. Verse 26 to 27 say, so God created man in his own image, in the image of and in the image and likeness of God he created him, male and female he created them. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful, multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, using all its vast resources in the service of God and man, and have dominion over the fish of the seas, the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves upon the earth. So now we see humans, which I began to explain. I use it to build my preamble for this brief program. So we human, we have our species. We have our species, and from here we have races. From races we begin to have ethnicity based on the on our outfits, languages, cultures, then our concepts. Though born of the same parents, like God created all of the aquatic animals, all of the land animals, all of the birds, God created them, but created them with species. But God made the one of humanity uniquely, not creating abundantly in a row, but want us to have varieties, but beginning with one parent for the unification of humanity. That is the mystery behind the creation of God, creating one man, and from inside that man he created the woman, making us to understand that we are no different from each other. We are deeply and by blood and by everything related to each other, and we should cooperate as such. But it is just as a result of our misconception. If all of us have the right conception, the Europeans will relate with the rest of the world peacefully and legitimately. Africans will relate with the rest of the world peacefully and legitimately. The Asians, whatever name they may bear, they will relate with the rest of the world peacefully and legitimately. But as a result of human selfishness, greed and covetousness, pride and arrogance, we cannot relate properly. So that is to say, it is not the will of God, and it is not from God that we do not relate properly. Our disunity and our contention, they are not of God. They are humanly and they are satanic. But I am here explaining the real will of God concerning we humanity, unification, and the working legitimately, not with manipulation, not with selfish interest. And from here we'll see varieties. So God has already established the wisdom of variety, the wisdom of dimensions in the creation by creating things to have their kinds and their species. So whatever human beings produce today, is it telephone, is it television, is it whatever, is it microphone, they always have their kinds, or they always have different qualities, they always have different names, because that is the wisdom of God reflecting in the productivity of humanity. God has created the creation as his own productivity, and also then humans also produced in the manufacture. So this issue of variety is very, very important. It is very, very important, but let everything always be done to the will, according to the will and to the pleasure of God, because that is the reason God had created the concept of variety, the concept of dimension, the concept of kinds and the species. There is nothing wrong with that. So God has created us with different species as human, expecting us to reflect his glory by we endeavoring to live in peace and harmony and legitimately with one another. That is the will of God concerning us.